of sea and sand. Now break down the acronym like you in class. Oh, they're selling the whole country. Ooh, they're selling aha. And I never been down with no OPP. I talk about selling our people's property. Don't know who doing it, so don't round me out. Don't send no police round me and tell me shush my mouth. Where's our conviction? But where's our pride? We selling everything, selling our backside. Just go online, it'll make you sick. You can buy any island, just point and click. See, they're selling our country, yes, they're selling our land. They're selling our archipelago of sea and sand. Now break down the acronym like you in class. Oh, they're selling the whole country. Ooh, they're selling aha. Hey, hey. Ride him. My mother always say, when you find a donkey, ride it. Who's donkey? What? Come on. We got a whole nation in 73. Now we getting back the whole country. What kind of fools we must be, selling out for a bag of rice and a cup of tea. You know what does bug me? Help me understand. I can't find piece of property for under 80 grand, but I can fix this. I know what to do. I can squat just like them other people try make me do. See, they're selling our country, yes, they're selling our land. They're selling our archipelago of sea and sand. Now break down the acronym like you in class. Oh, they're selling the whole country. Ooh, they're selling aha. They're selling our country. Ooh, they're selling our land. They're selling our archipelago of sea and sand. Now break down the acronym like you in class. Oh, they're selling the whole country. Ooh, they're selling aha. I get everybody sell some every day. They're selling one island, they will keep. What can be left for you and me? Is this the example? What's our kids to do? You want them have a sense of pride, or go selling too? Cause they're selling our country, yes, they're selling our land. They're selling our archipelago of sea and sand. Now break down the acronym like you in class. Oh, they're selling the whole country. Ooh, they're selling aha. They're selling our country, yes, they're selling our land. They're selling our archipelago of sea and sand. Now break down the acronym like you in class. Oh, they're selling the whole country. Ooh, they're selling aha. They're selling our country, yes man. They're selling our land. They're selling our archipelago of sea and sand. Now break down the acronym like you in class. Oh, they're selling the whole country. Ooh, they're selling aha. They're selling our country, yes, yes. They're selling our land. They're selling our archipelago of sea and sand. Now break down the acronym like you in class. Oh, they're selling the whole country. Ooh, they're selling aha.
Whoa, girls, we outdoing it?
Before the break, the question put to you was, people still associate you with the past administration that was labeled as corrupt and so forth. Do you believe that is to a negative with your electability, and how do you separate yourself from that and into what many people are now calling for, saying we need new blood? People are now saying we don't want the PLP, we don't want the FNM, they're two of the same. What do you say to that? That is a tough hurdle for any party to overcome. What do you say regarding that?
Well, first of all, I served in the last administration, Christie administration, as Deputy Prime Minister, with other portfolios. I'm not ashamed of having served for those 5 years, and I can say that, and I say it publicly. Let me just say that the Christie administration did what they thought was best. The priorities and choices made was what they thought and I thought was best at that time. The label of being corrupt, I reject out of hand.
Oh, Lord Jesus.
Because I'm not aware of any of my colleagues in that cabinet having committing any corrupt act.
Are you serious?
I know nothing. Nothing.
Marathon Member of Parliament Jerome Fitzgerald had his emails to Bahamar developer Sarkis's Merlion printed in the Tribune newspaper. The emails showed that Fitzgerald sought to lock down Bahamar contracts, which would have gotten his family's company some big bucks. Kyle Joaquin tells us more.
As a Tribune article thrust the MP into the spotlight, the story included alleged email correspondence between Fitzgerald and former Bahamar developer Sarkis's Merlion, where it is alleged the cabinet minister reportedly sought to secure millions of dollars in brokerage, trucking, and limousine contracts at Bahamar. Just this past Tuesday, Fitzgerald and Attorney General Alison Maynard Gibson denied having personal business interests in Bahamar. Today, after his nomination, Fitzgerald wouldn't say much on the matter.
I'm going to have a press statement on that later, so I'll respond to that later.
Later today? Or?
Yeah, today, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Some people say you should.
I'll respond to that later today.
In one email released by the Tribune, Fitzgerald seeks to solidify a relationship between China State Construction and Bahamas Cargo Limited for BCL, a company owned by Fitzgerald's family, to collect paperwork and clear shipments for the resort. In another email dated May 18, 2013, Fitzgerald writes is Merlion requesting a brokerage contract. He writes, as indicated, we are ready to start brokerage and trucking for the Bahamar project and remain the brokers after opening. I would really appreciate it if we could be appointed your official broker for June 2013. But still, no answer from Fitzgerald.
Any other questions? Okay.
Reporters also sought to get a response from Prime Minister Perry Christie.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
I see nothing. I know nothing.
Report to show that he
This is just the latest scandal to rock the Christie administration involving Fitzgerald. The MP was embroiled in controversy last year after he read the private emails of Save the Bay's members in Parliament. And a year before that, the report on the Marathon Rubis fuel spill.
Because I'm not aware of any of my colleagues in that cabinet having committing any corrupt act.
I know nothing. Nothing.
Police denied the arrest and release of a consul general over the weekend is leading to opposition claims that the Christie administration is again interfering with the course of justice. In a press statement, the Free National Movement quoted eyewitnesses to claim that Bahamas Consul General to Atlanta, Randy Roll, was arrested by police in Bimini last Friday after he used obscenities against officers who would not allow him and 3 American guests to enter a restricted area which had been cordoned off by police. They claim as a result of his behavior and language, Roll was handcuffed and placed into a police vehicle while one of his female companions repeatedly beat on the police car as it was being driven away. The opposition claims Roll used his one call while in police custody to contact Prime Minister Perry Christie, and that eventually a call was made from the police commissioner to the head of the Bimini police station, followed by Roll's release from custody. The FNM says Prime Minister Perry Christie is now duty-bound to explain to the Bahamian people the circumstances surrounding Roll's arrest and subsequent release. Government has yet to respond.
Because I'm not aware of any of my colleagues in that cabinet having committing any corrupt act.
Oh, you have got to be kidding me.
Police are still investigating recent claims that Agriculture Minister V. Alfred Gray used his office to secure the release of a convicted man in Mayaguana. The FNM now suggests that abuse of power appears to be systemic within the Progressive Liberal Party. The FNM is calling for a full report on this latest incident to be sent to the Commissioner of Police and made public.
Because I'm not aware of any of my colleagues in that cabinet committing any corrupt act.
Oh, Lord Jesus.
Mr. Mitchell held a press conference today, accompanied by his attorney, Raynard Rigby, after the comments made in the Senate linking him to the distribution of visas and passports to ineligible applicants. He blamed a Foreign Service officer for the statements, which showed up in a WikiLeaks document which Senator Folks referenced in Parliament yesterday.
Because I'm not aware of any of my colleagues in that cabinet committing any corrupt act.
Opposition members objected to those comments on a point of order. However, the Prime Minister cautioned them not to speak too soon as the water and sewage forensic report was to come. Opposition leader Philip Davis responded to that and claims about the termination cause for that lifetime contract.
I'd like you to know that I was advised this morning that I'm named somehow in that. I know nothing about it, right? But I don't, no one is doing me any favor to say to me that my name may appear in a report that's being written. I don't know whether it's adverse to me or not, but what I can say on the record, that no one has spoken to me about anything in relation to Water and Sewage Corporation. And I would have thought that it will be totally unfair for any report to be written about me without speaking to me about it. But I'll wait it. I accept that a termination period of 3 years may not be a normal termination period, right? But one has to understand the circumstances under which that term was agreed.
Where they eat, I walk away from the sinking sand. No wicked man up here, corruption. My people have had enough. Them said one the good stuff.
Ladies and gentlemen, and welcome. As always, it's always good to have you here. My name is Lincoln Bain. I am the leader of the Coalition of Independence, and it is Tuesday, the 18th of July in the year 2023. The year is more than halfway gone, and thank God, because we're almost a year down to getting rid of this corrupt and evil PLP government. When we saw that video that we opened with, when Bahamian people saw that interview by Cliff Watson of Philip Davis, we should have known what to expect. But I can guarantee you, it is worse behind the scenes than you are seeing out there. They are raping and robbing this country as we speak. You knew it would happen. It always happens when the PLP comes to office. But they made it so that we wanted minutes gone so bad that we would vote for the man that we knew would probably be the most corrupt prime minister in Bahamian history. We got a lot to talk about today. I want to talk about BEC because there's a lot that you don't understand about what's going on with BEC and the rape and robbery that's going on there. And I got to talk about Keith Bell. Keith Bell just continues his rampage. I want to update you on where we are and dealing with that situation that went on previous to this with the funeral. All right, so thank you all for tuning in. Thank you from wherever you're tuning in from. I'm going to get straight to it, and so the intro isn't too long. Ladies and gentlemen, we thank you for your continued support. We thank you for continuing to share the live, to share the live. Ladies and gentlemen, it is always a pleasure And so now Keith Bell is in the headlines again, but this time it's the F&M pretending to be the COI by doing a press conference with information that the COI released exactly 2 weeks ago about the more than 100 Chinese that were arrested and that Keith Bell were told by the workers at immigration that he released them. And so the F&M, pretending to be the COI, decided to release this as if it's fresh information. And it confused a lot of people out there as if this is something that is new and that just happened. Well, I'll update you to let you know exactly what's going on. Because it's comical the way the media in this country operate. And sometimes they do twist people and cause them to be confused. You'll remember that I announced this when I originally released the original voice note that showed Keith Bell at the funeral. I announced this information about the Chinese. We talk about it more on my next live because we got deeper information from those who were there and working and who gave us information. And when we went to the Prime Minister's office, these were one of the points that we delivered to the government in writing. Of course, the F&M was watching that. And they have no ideas of their own. And so the only things that they can talk about is what they had a COI talk about. And so the F&M decided to do some press conference or press release talking about this issue that we talked about weeks ago. The PLP and the F&M are having they're having a drought. They're having a drought of ideas. They're having a brain freeze right now as relates to vision and ideas and things to talk about. They don't know what to do. And so the only thing that they can do is watch these lives so that they can have some ideas to at least talk about. They're not going to implement them, but they need to talk about them. And so we have to continue doing these lives, not for you, ladies and gentlemen, but for the PLP and F&M. Otherwise, they would be absolutely dead with nothing to talk about. They may even cancel hours of assembly because they have nothing to do and nothing to talk about other than rob and rape the Bahamian people. And so the F&M finally decided to talk about the Chinese matter, Jesus. And they talk about it as if it's theirs. This will continue. And of course, they recently had a meeting, and their basic understanding is that they feel, their conclusion is that the majority of the Bahamian people won't get to hear when I say something on the live, so that they can steal whatever they hear me saying and they can present it as if it's new. And if it's as if it's them presenting it, and no one will notice that they have no ideas and they're only presenting what they hear from Lincoln Bay on COI Live. But it's not working because everyone, including their supporters, are seeing exactly what's going on. And they're saying, oh, well, the F&M and PLP are stealing your ideas. We have no problem with anyone using our ideas. Ideas do not belong to anyone. As long as the Bahamian people can benefit from it, that is what we want. Let's make that clear first and foremost. But the problem we have with them is that they are taking these ideas and introducing them in a way that we won't benefit. We're going to talk about all that because I called into the Steve McKinney show today and had a conversation with his guest, Dwayne Sands, live on air. And because he had a standpoint that was, to me, sickening. And we're tired of it. And we're not going to have any more of it. Not another day of this evil deception of the Bahamian people. And so we just wanted to get started there. And so, what are we talking about? Again, over 100 Chinese were arrested, put in bus at the Hilton Hotel, and calls were made, and of course, Keith Bell was called, and Keith Bell called the Deputy Director of Immigration, all right, the Deputy Director of Immigration, we're identifying, and he engaged with the deputy, he told the deputy to let those people go and let them apply the next day, all right? The deputy director protested that this is wrong, it's unlawful, it shouldn't happen, and didn't want to do it. But of course, she was overpowered by Keith Bell, and Keith Bell decided to do what he wanted to do. All right, and he forced her to obey his orders. This is wrong and unlawful. The minister has no right to deal with the day-to-day governing of the immigration. He has no authority to give any instructions to the director or deputy director. The act says that the director is in full charge of the Department of Immigration. The minister's role is policy only, to communicate the policies of the government, not to dictate or operate the day-to-day operations of the department. This is about to change in the New Bahamas. There will not be ministers interfering with day-to-day operations of these ministries moving forward. This is about to change. And so that is what he did. And then subsequently, this lady was suspended. And so it wasn't technically a suspension. She was put on leave. All right. You're about to hear from Keith Bell. I'm going to show you his response to that in the media today. But you're about to hear from that. She was technically put on leave. So technically you could say he didn't suspend her, but he put her on leave. Okay? And so putting her on leave was suspending her. And every time her date comes up, hearing comes up, they push it back, something happens. Absolute nonsense. Because she's a decent Christian lady who refuses to do anything that is wrong. And so he didn't want her around. It's time for change. So I'm going to let you hear from this evil, corrupt man, who I'll call a criminal because of his actions of putting that woman on leave the way he did and interfering with the Department of Immigration. Criminal Keith Bell. This is his words in response. You can see guilt. Let's hear from the criminal himself, Keith Bell.
In January of this year, the Department of Immigration, as part of its ongoing efforts to ensure compliance with our immigration laws, discovered a number of irregularities with the status of workers at the British Colonial Hilton construction site. Whilst the irregularities required immediate action, it was determined that given all of the circumstances, taking the persons at the detention center was unnecessary. It is important to note that the employer, as with almost every other major hotel redevelopment, has a heads of agreement with the government of the Bahamas to permit the temporary importation of foreign construction workers. Secondly, the irregularities found at the site could and were expeditiously cured by the employer.
Was it not your immigration department that rounded them up? Was it not your immigration department that rounded them up? Minister, was it not your immigration department that rounded them up yesterday? Who was it within your department?
You suspended several immigration officers to facilitate the use of the Chinese.
Who was it in your department? Who was it in your department that rounded them up?
Mr. Bell, answer the question.
Immigration officers.
Did you suspend the immigration officers?
No, I didn't.
So you can, that's on the record?
No.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to go through that one more time. One more. And I'm going to talk you through this. I hope you're not getting any feedback. If you are, just let me know.
In January of this year, the Department of Immigration, as part of its ongoing efforts to ensure compliance with our immigration laws, discovered a number of irregularities with the status of workers at the British Colonial Hilton construction site. Whilst the irregularities required immediate action,
So the Department of Immigration found irregularities. They found persons illegally in the Bahamas. So, they've switched this now to irregular immigrants. But of course, he's playing with words again. They found some people illegally in the Bahamas breaking the law, for which it is a criminal offense. And it was found by the Department of Immigration. Okay? And he said it required immediate action. That shows how serious it is. Let's continue.
It was determined that given all of the circumstances, taking the persons at the detention center was unnecessary.
He says that he found that it was unnecessary to take the persons to the detention center. If it was unnecessary to take them to the detention center, why were they packed up in buses? No, the Department of Immigration found it very necessary to take them to the detention center. That's what they were doing until you stop them.
It is important to note that the employer, as with almost every other major hotel redevelopment, has a heads of agreement with the government of the Bahamas to permit the temporary importation of foreign construction workers.
Do you hear how he worded that? It's important to note that the employer has a heads of agreement with the government to allow the importation of foreign workers. The heads of agreement does not give them a work permit. It says that they will be allowed work permits. It is not a work permit. He's wording that as if that gave them the right to have these people here. I don't understand. We can have a treaty with America saying that their citizens, we can have a treaty with America saying that our citizens can come to America with a police record. That can be the treaty. But if we attempt to come without a passport or without the police record and the passport, do we then say, but we have a treaty saying that our persons can? What is he saying?
Secondly, the irregularities found at the site could and were expeditiously cured by the employer.
Was it not your immigration department that rounded them up? Was it not your immigration department that rounded
by the employer?
Was it not
at the site could and were expeditiously cured by the employer?
Was it not your immigration department that rounded them up? Was it not your immigration department that rounded them up? Minister, was it not your immigration department that rounded them up yesterday? Who was it within your department?
You suspended several immigration officers to facilitate the release of the Chinese.
Who was it in your department? Who was it in your department that rounded them up?
Mr. Bell, answer the question.
Immigration officers.
Did you suspend the immigration officers?
No, I didn't.
So you can, that's on the record?
No.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Who was it that arrested them? Immigration officers. Did you suspend any of the immigration officers? No. Ladies and gentlemen, I don't know what else Bamers need to see or hear. I don't know. It's just not adding up. It's just not adding up. I'm terrified for this our one Bahamas. I'm terrified. I want to play one more thing for you again, just to remind you, I hate to have to do this, but after I play this, it's time to go to war with these criminals. All right? I just want you to hear this again, Bahamas, for yourselves. One more time.
I saw that my way, the message was promised, but say my family today Cleveland, right there, gave one more. What I'm about to do is unorthodox. Some of my fair lads are indeed unorthodox. I want this racing, I want you to build up a little bit of strength. Like Mark Justelman, my dad, Moxie, first works in church, I asked for your support. My door is to Paul Nazar as I'm about to bestow citizenship. Passing my Bible to my Maman, madame, avec famille, petite vie au campé. Maman, vous pouvez prendre ce courage pour nous. Des témoignages, des témoignages, children don't have to take the oath. Testimony of but adults have to take the oath. Mais Ramon will do ceremony. Tracy, you repeat after me and say I, and your full name. I, full name. Do swear that I will be faithful and bear true allegiance to King Charles III, King of the Bahamas, his heirs and successors, according to law, and that I will faithfully observe the laws of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. So help me God. La loi does not allow me to dispense with any part of what I'm doing. And so we will now sing the national anthem. Tout le monde, s'il vous plaît, café. C'est parti. One, 2, 3. One. Excellency, Madam Speaker. The women, Madam Kwan, and the children, the testimonial on behalf of the Honorable Prime, the Papa, the Minister, the Cabinet, the Cabinet, and the agents everywhere, to pay to Patu, I welcome you, no to bienvenue, as the Davis citizens, from nouveau citoyen de Bahamas. Certificate de I end by saying that Frank is now resting in peace. Amen.
So that, ladies and gentlemen, is Keith Bell and more of his criminal activities. And of course, this is happening not in isolation. This is not a rogue minister, ladies and gentlemen. This is the plan of the Progressive Liberal Party. Keith Bell is doing the bidding of Philip Brave Davis himself. They know that Bahamians are becoming discouraged with them, and they are trying to create their own voting bloc of new voters because they know that the Bahamians are tired of being swung every single election. They saw, based on the poor turnout last election, that Bahamians had had enough and that we aren't going to take anymore. Ladies and gentlemen, something is happening. And if you can't see this, we don't know what else to say. We got a call today just before we went live from a Bahamian lady, a hardcore PLP Bahamian lady who was disappointed when she heard that someone, well, her husband, who she's not together with, I guess, had used her name, her ex-husband, sorry, had used her name in order to get his papers straight. And when she inquired, they told her that it could have only been the minister to have authorized that. She never signed for this. This is the kind of things that's going on in our country. We need change. We need change now. We need change desperately. Now, someone told me that there was someone on social media, I'm not sure who it is, who had said that, that some immigration officers had got suspended as a result of us advocating for them or whatever, or exposing what Keith Bell had done, etc., and that the COI had to go out and fight for them. Let me make this clear. The COI has been fighting. The COI is fighting. That's what we do every day. We don't fight the way other people tell us to fight, or we may not fight the way you want us to fight, but we will continue to fight for the Bahamian people. And just to be clear, these persons weren't fired because of anything to do with the COI. These persons were not fired, suspended. They're talking about the deputy director who was suspended from January or February after she stood up against Keith Bell for the darkness that he was doing. This is months ago that the suspension happened. This is not any new suspension that we know about. Okay? And so we know that persons were being victimized at that place if they stood up against the minister. We are standing up for them. And so where are we? We told the minister and we told the government that we're going to take legal action, and those are the avenues that we're looking into right now. What the government did was, in terms of the funeral, where Keith Bell gave the citizenship, the prime minister came forward afterwards and he said that there's no reason for Keith Bell to step down because he did not give out a citizenship at the funeral. That's the words of the prime minister, we're told. And so he didn't give any citizenship to anyone at the funeral. So in other words, in order to avoid our lawsuit, they are now saying that, well, we didn't do anything, so no harm, no foul. He may have said some wrong things there. His actions might have been wrong, but he didn't actually give out the citizenship. Now, this goes against everything everyone was saying, that he did nothing wrong by giving out the citizenship. It's the PLP scrambling to cover up their evil. And so that's their strategy now. And so we have to look, well, we've been dealing with our persons at immigration so that we have everything documented before we act. So just know that we have not stepped back from this. We are all over this. We're working with persons on the inside to see exactly what is going on. But it seems like right now that he didn't actually give out the citizenship, or they pulled back and told her, listen, this went public. Some people secretly recorded us. And so we got to hold on your citizenship for right now. And then when the dust clear and everything calmed down and no one is looking, we're going to just secretly give it to you. And so it seems like that is where we are now. All right. And so we're gonna continue to do what we have to do. So just be patient with us. We are fighting. All right. So that's where we are. And so, ladies and gentlemen, the PLP is a criminal organization, and every time they come to power, this is what happens. But on the other hand, the FNM is a failure as an opposition. All right? The only thing they have any kind of capability of doing is trying to copy Lincoln Bain and the COI. And they are a failure at that because they have no teeth. None. I hear the FNM asking for this and asking for that, asking the government to do this and the government to do that. Let me make this clear to everyone out there. The FNM is the Public Accounts Committee, and they can hold the government account for anything that they're doing right now. Anything. The FNM can hold the government account for BPL and all this stuff that they're crying about BPL. I'll talk about BPL in a minute. The FNM can hold the government account for everything that they've been crying about. Let me show you one example of how the FNM and PLP is working together. All right? And then that'll lead me to BPL and then Dwayne Sams. Did you know that all government officials, senior officials, must disclose? They must disclose. There's a form, you must fill that out, not only when you're running for election. Now, we saw in the papers recently that many persons failed to disclose. Did you know that the leader of the opposition or the prime minister, either one, can file charges against any member of parliament who failed to disclose? Did you know that? Guess who knows that? Pintard knows that. Brave Davis knows that. Every member of parliament knows that. If you fail to disclose, the leader of the opposition has the power to prosecute you, and you can go to jail. There's jail time, there's a heavy fine, and they can seize any property or belongings or money that you didn't disclose. That's the law. But you notice that Pintar is not doing that. He's not going to offend his fellow criminals, the PLP. They're in this together, raping the Bahamian public. How could Pintard talk about the government not doing their job, the government not following the laws that relates to procurement, but Pintard isn't doing his job? And remember, we're paying him. This isn't voluntary. He's not an activist. He's not a party that's trying to get into office. We are paying him to do his job. And if anyone failed to disclose, Pintard has a duty to prosecute them. But no way, Pintard. Not one, not even one. I mean, they lock one of your people up, Pintard. You have a chance to lock 7 of them up. No way. No, because y'all in this together. Y'all are one. Oh, they lock 2 of your people up. Babies are waking up, y'all. I want to say a couple of things now about, and so we're going to continue this fight with immigration. Y'all stay tuned. All right? Some bombs are going to get dropped. But remember, I told you this. Stay tuned. All right? I want to just touch on BPL a little bit, because BPL is now, in the press every day, and people are hot and sweating and tortured, and even out west, the current is going off now. One time ago, people said, the current didn't go off in the west. Now, even out west is experiencing load shedding. Out west. I mean, you think if they get load shed somewhere, it should start out west, because that's most of the people who have generators and solar, instead of the poor people who can't afford that. But I digress. I want to break something down for you, all right? I just want you to stay with me for a minute on this. I want you to focus on something. Did you notice that there was a fire in Andros that caused them to lose power in Andros? Yes, you would have noticed that. Now, there's a fire in Andros, and they said that they restored the power. Excuse me, but 1 second, we got to get some power back onto this device so we can continue the live. We are so sorry, but we got to take a commercial break in order to get that done. So we'll be right back.
Well, I didn't follow all of the words or the statements of Brent Simonet, but I did know that I took note that he said that what I did was not unlawful. And I would invite Brent Simonet to examine his own record before he could point fingers. Here it is, we're talking about someone who introduced a Commercial Enterprises Act to allow persons in this country to bypass every process to obtain status in this country. We are talking about someone who had to resign on 2 occasions from the cabinet of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. And so his own record ought to be examined before he could point fingers at anyone. In my view, he have no moral authority to speak to me on this matter.
He also said
So sorry for technical difficulty just now, but let's look at BPL for a second. BPL is in a serious state. All right, serious state. I want you know I want you to pay attention as I walk you through this to the fact that they said that they lost power in Andres, for example, Andres. And then they said they restored the 1.2 megawatts that they needed. Now that sounded like all they needed. So if it was 1.2 megawatts that you needed, 1.2 megawatts. All right, that's a lot of power. All right, 1.2 megawatts they used to restore power to to Andres. Okay. Now, I want you to pay attention to something. 1.2 megawatts. That's interesting. 1.2 megawatts. I keep repeating that for a special reason. 1.2 megawatts. How does that sound familiar? When did we have about that same amount of power that was provided to the Bahamas? How hard is it to provide 1.2 megawatts to the aliens? How hard is that? Is that really difficult? Well, I know when they did that. That's an easy one to remember. I'll show you when they did that. Let's screen share. So they said 1.2 megawatts is what it took to get Andres back up and running. Watch this. Ready? Watch this. Oh. $4 million solar project to cut power generation costs by $350K. All right. So here, the Bahamas got they got 1 megabyte of power. They got 1 megabyte of power donated to them by the United Arab Emirates and it cost, they said, $4 million. Now, you need to pay attention also to the fact that it costs less than that today, much less, because you need less solar power to do it. So the average cost today is about, if you do research, 1.5 million, 1.6 million to 3.6 million in order to do the same thing today. All right? That's how it would work today. I hope everyone is hearing me properly. Let me make sure I got a good sound check. All right, make sure everyone is hearing me properly. All right, so let me pull it back up for you. So 1 megawatt of solar energy, they spent $4 million. And of course, today, of course, it would cost less because that was in, when was that? 2019. And you know what they said. And so megawatt solar system, which is displaced 310,000 liters of diesel fuel annually. You see where the big concern is for them? Because who provides the fuel? 310,000 liters of diesel fuel annually is what that 1 megawatt is going to displace annually or replace annually, which will save the island $350,000 and offset 856 tons of carbon emissions annually. A ton is 2,000 pounds. It's 856 tons of carbon. So that will all. So you see how there's more money? Oh, carbon. It's going to offset 856 tons of carbon. And they put it on a parking lot. And so this costs a little bit more money too because it's on a parking lot. So they built them with like structures over the cars. If they had just done them on the ground like normal solar with their setup, it would have been much less also. But 856 tons of carbon emissions. So hold on. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. You mean to tell me that for $4 million, our government that we're paying all this money to, our government that we're paying all this money to, for $4 million, could have simply gotten all the fuel costs for Andres, all the fuel costs, got rid of the maintenance because solar doesn't have that maintenance that these generators have and buying parts and all that kind of stuff. You'd have almost no maintenance. But we bought more of the same generators, or leased more of the same generators. Leased. For hundreds of thousands. They're saying right last time they checked their cost was $600,000 to get them back up and running. They could have spent $4 million and problem solved for future generations. They could have given free electricity to all of North Andros. But hey, they want you to keep voting for them and making them rich. Doesn't that make a lot of sense? You gotta keep your politicians rich. Keep them rich. Because if your politician isn't rich, who's gonna give you the $50 when it's time for election? The wonders of this country that we live in. And so, not only, because they would say, okay, you have maintenance costs and this kind of stuff. Listen, the maintenance costs would be more than covered, staff salaries, et cetera, by the money that you make from the carbon offsets. Just by installing that power plant, you would make money every year from carbon credits instead of from your customers that can cover any cost and bring extra change in your pocket as a government. The Bahamas would benefit from going solar while not charging the Bahamian people $1. But you choose to make focal, sun oil, the FNM and the PLP rich. Remember what Leslie Miller said? You blank the sweat. Continue to make them rich. Continue to vote for them because what they say, we selling dreams while they live in their dream and you live in a nightmare. There's some people right now whose current is off and they can't even watch this. They got a little bit of charge left in their phone. They don't want to turn off. Now, I just wanted to put that there for you so you could understand exactly what's going on. BC is a nightmare. But by going solar, we could make money from the carbon credits and give free electricity to all Bahamians. It's not a dream. That's doable. And the COI is going to do it. The FNM will not do it. The PLP will not do it. The choice is yours. The choice is simple. But hey, let's keep making them rich. If that makes sense to you. All right? So I think I want to leave that there. And I want to talk about Dr. Sands a minute. I want to talk about Dr. Sands. I was told that Dr. Sands was on the show, and Dr. Sands was talking about carbon credits, and he started to make it seem as if we are selling dreams and that we're making lofty promises to people. And I don't know how many of you watch him on Steve McKinney's show, but it was horrendous. It was disgraceful. I'll try to play it. I'll try to play a portion of it on air for you to see if you can get the sound. You can let me know if you get sound. Otherwise, we have to keep going. I'm gonna try to play a portion of that. I was really passionate in that conversation, and that really hurts and angers me when I hear the nonsense that these evil, gut-up politicians spew on a daily basis, trying to keep us down, trying to make sure that we get nothing. I mean, it's beyond evil. Let me see if I can. Yeah, I'm gonna try to fast forward to about where it was. Hopefully you can. Hopefully you can hear this. I haven't done it like this in a long time, so you can let me know if you have technical difficulties or if you're hearing this properly. All right, let's try this and see if that works. So I'm going to screen share, and you can let me know if you're getting the screen. I just want those who didn't get to watch with this. And the reason I'm showing you this is because I want you to understand that the PLP and FNM are working together. They're now coming together to share the same message. And the message to you is going to be that we're selling dreams again. Grave Davis has walked back on what he said before. Remember, all he was talking about was carbon credits. Carbon credits could make billions of dollars, and now he's trying to walk it back, saying, "Oh, we only make enough to pay the bills, and we could eventually reduce some taxes, and eventually get something from it, and eventually this and now Wayne Sands has the same talking points. Eventually, something, or we don't want people to think this and that, and the PLP and FNM are working together. And I want you to believe that if this election is close, they're going to tag team. If PLP has 10 seats, the FNM has 10 seats, and the COI has 19 seats, you need 20 to win. The FNM and PLP will become one party in order to avoid the COI winning the election. I guarantee you that. That's when you will see their true colors. They are going to work together from now until the election. Him and Pintat are already working together. Because the most terrifying thing for them is the COI becoming government and empowering you all. They ain't going to be getting locked up, They are worried about you being empowered more than anything else. Let's go to this Facebook page and see what's happening here. All right, let me see if you can see this. Let me pull that up. And let's see. I'm sorry, it doesn't seem like you're able to hear it. So I'm going to pull it back. I'm so sorry. I'm sorry, it doesn't seem like It doesn't seem like you're able to hear it. So I'm going to pull it back. I'm so sorry. I'm sorry, it doesn't seem like you're able to. You know what I'll do? I'll just show you it from. So I'm going to pull it back. I'm so sorry. I'll just show you it from this other device. I'm sorry it won't be as technically sound as it should be. But I wanted you to hear this conversation because I want you to see the similarities of the PLP and F&M and how they are now walking back and trying to lie to you and trick you on everything that has been going on. Let me see if I could get this to where it should be. I want you all to hear this because I want you to see that the PLP and F&M are one. Pay attention to this, all right? So I'll play it from the device. I'm sorry. I have to do it that way. Let's see how we could do it. Let me see how we could do this. All right, we started from there, and let's see how we can do this. Now, I won't be able to test the sound, so you're gonna have to just send me a text and let me know if there's any sound at this time, all right? Let's go.
This time around to see if they can in fact be a part of something fantastic. Talking about people who are running science. Lincoln Bain, good afternoon. How are you?
Good afternoon, Steve. I'm Austin. How are you doing?
Peace and love, man. All is well. What's happening?
Awesome. Awesome. My phone was blowing up off the hook with people telling me that you had the chairman of the F&M on your show, basically talking nonsense, trying to talk down the notion of our carbon credits and natural resources.
Well, you know, Mr. Sands made some points, some very, very salient points is what he made, and he perhaps can repeat them. But the point is this: all he was basically saying is that, look, all of this talk that's happening out there is the question in particular. You mean to tell me that Bray Davis has been flamming these people, and they ain't being able to say that this thing is something that's going to happen when this may not even happen? And basically, you know, that's what's actually happening. So the point is this: if he is talking this core ideas like you're talking about that makes no sense, perhaps you can bring him along and help us to understand exactly what he's saying. What are your thoughts about what you heard that he was saying?
It didn't give me the details of what he said, but based on what you said just now, carbon credits is not a pie in the sky dream. It is an actual program that was installed by the UN because there was an understanding that countries were making a lot of money by polluting the air and polluting the environment, and they wanted to find a way to funnel money back to third world countries that were not making the money from the pollution and that were being affected by it. And they put the carbon credits trading scheme there, and that was to be used by these.
I'm sorry, my phone
that is going on. All right, there are countries that have been trading carbon credits. There are countries that have been making monies from this. In the European market, carbon credits are worth roughly $100 per carbon credit right now. That's just over $88 88 euros per carbon credit. In California, they also have a market there. It's trading at over $30. And so,
Lincoln, good afternoon. How are you? And it's good to hear your voice. I think it's very important to see that when we are having a conversation, that the context of the conversation is clear. And so, you know, we can talk about all different aspects of carbon credit trading, the monetized value, which is almost in hundreds of billions of dollars, and so on and so forth. The fact that the biggest carbon credit trader is the worst offender in the world. That's China, followed by India. What I have said, Mr. Bain, is that what we do not wish to do is to overpromise the Bahamian people that next year, this year, next week, etc.,
that we are going to be monetizing these carbon credits to the point where it is a major contributor either to our national budget or to our GDP. And that, at the end of the day, when people talk about these expectations, they are talking about decades. Okay? So it is more important for us to look at the existential threats to this Bahamas and the fact that right now, small island developing states are under siege. And so you have to balance this promise, and we haven't gotten the first dollar from carbon credits yet, with what is happening to us every single day.
Mr. San, let me tell you what states like ours are under siege from. We're under siege from poverty. All right? We experience hurricanes and major hurricanes every several years. But every single day, we are under siege from poverty. We are hitting potholes. We are under a health system, which you also are part of, where we are suffering every day. People are dying in the hospitals. We are under siege. Yes, we don't expect to overpromise people. We will not do that. But let me tell you what has been happening. The FNM and PLP have been lying to the Bahamian people, saying that we had no natural resources. And you know what I did? I presented documents with PLP members of parliament and FNM members of parliament, including Prime Minister Ingram, that showed them signing off billions of dollars worth of our natural resources while they were telling us that we had no natural resources because they didn't want us to benefit from it. And this continues with conversation like yours. Okay? We have every right to shoot for the sky. We have every right to aim high as a country.
No problem at all. And what I think is very important for you to do is to be honest with the Bahamian people. And, it's all well and good, and I'm going to be very respectful to you, and I expect the same in return, okay? That we may have a different view of the way forward. But do not, at any point in time, misrepresent the facts as to where I stand, where we stand on matters of making this Bahamas a better place. You don't have a monopoly on patriotism, nor do you have a monopoly on ideas. You just happen to have a particular set of ideas that you are wishing to promulgate, that you're wishing to propose to the BIM, and I support that 100%. But don't for 1 minute suggest that I don't have similar ideas, that the Free National Movement doesn't have ideas that are good for the Bahamian people, particularly when you were one of those people trying to become a part of the FNM.
I'm not speaking about your ideas. I'm talking about the lies of the FNM. Romy Ferreira, the Minister of Environment, came to the Bahamian public, is published in the papers, and said that the entire aragonite industry was worth $2 million. That's what the FNM put out there. All right? The lies that y'all have been telling. And y'all are still continuing to try to talk this down. Every Bahamian can benefit from our natural resources and carbon credits, and we are fed up. The people on the streets are waking up. They have access to information, Dr. Sands. And we are tired of the lies. All right? There's a major carbon credit market out there.
Lincoln, we don't have to argue, you can tone your voice down. You don't have to shout at me. I can hear you, my brother.
I'm sorry, I was driving in the car and there's a lot of wind behind me, so
pull over. I am not going to raise my voice at you.
I'm passionate about this, man.
Well,
people are suffering, man. I'm hearing people crying every day. I'm seeing women sleeping on beaches. Bahamians don't have to be suffering, man. I'm passionate about this. Why are we lying to the Bahamian people? Why is it every budget under the FNM and the PLP, they say we make $0 from our aragonite and $0 from our limestone? We had Carl Bethel come in the Senate, and Carl Bethel said that the cosmetic industry is making billions and billions of dollars from our flora and fauna, and we're getting nothing from it. We've heard nothing back from that. Where is this coming from? We see treasure being discovered in our waters. I brought out this conversation about treasures. The government was pretending like we had no treasure. And then all of a sudden, 2 days before election, in the Tribune, they found 13 treasure ships, each worth over $1 billion. One day that they've already went through the wreckage, and it's worth over $1 billion. We heard nothing about that again. That's our money, man. All I'm saying, Dwayne Sands, is give the Bahamian people what is rightfully theirs. We're begging for nothing,
Amen.
That's ours. Dwayne Sands,
Don't promise me something you cannot deliver. And what you are basically doing, Lincoln, right now, is in your exchange with me, is you are pretending as if I'm not listening to you. I'm listening to you. But listening to you and respecting you doesn't mean that I have to agree with you. But what I will insist that you do is that you will listen to me if I listen to you, and you will respect what I say.
Go ahead.
Okay? So we have different views of this thing. You may go ahead and tell the Bahamian public that, if a COI government is elected, this is how it's going to look. Okay? This is what you are going to do. And this is what your revenue is going to be based on. What I believe that we ought to do is to be more realistic, more honest with the Bahamian people, because they have been promised dreams. People are selling them dreams every day. I am not one of them people.
Well, friends, you've gotten your first debate between Dwayne Sands and, of course, Lincoln Bain, from one from the COI and one from the FM. The only person missing now is Brave Davis.
He's out of town. Matter of fact, he spends more time out of town than he does in town.
You think we could arrange that so we could have this three-man debate on the show?
It wouldn't be me. It would be the leader of the Free
I
National.
I understand. But in this case, you represent
I just want to make sure you understand, Steve, that Dwayne Sands is talking about selling dreams. The only people who have been selling dreams to the Bahamian people over the last 50 years is the FNM and the PLP, and they've never delivered on any of their dreams. They've only delivered suffering and misery. And we have an opportunity, whether you want to or not, we have an opportunity to empower our Bahamian people, and that is all our agenda is. I'm not looking for anything. I'm not looking for power. I don't want anything. All I want is the Bahamian people to get what is theirs. And that is a legacy that we can all be proud of. That is an accomplishment that any serious politician can say. I transform my country by empowering our people. That is a legacy that we can all do.
And I think that
the study has gone out saying the carbon credits from seagrass is worth $156 billion.
Yes,
all right? That's monetized. The seagrass, all right? So if that is their study, that is value there. Even if you really get $1 billion from it, that is value. Even if you don't want to believe it's $156 billion, that is value. Give us what belongs to us. That's just the seagrass. That is not the mangroves yet, and the forests that we have, and the coral reefs. All right? There is value there. And all we're saying is let's explore this and stop trying to talk it down.
That the value of our natural resources is something that we cannot put a price on. It is priceless. Now, that said, the question is, how do you monetize it to the benefit of the Bahamian people? That process, which we are looking at, is something that is not going to happen tomorrow. Okay? What is happening right now?
It's happening now. Our natural resources are already being mined, Dr. Sands. They are already monetizing our limestone, our aragonite. It's happening.
So, the total contribution of our aragonite, we've had this debate. We have talked about oil in the Bahamas and whether we should be drilling for oil. Our major contribution right now is the people of the Bahamas, who the value of their sweat equity is not considered. And so while I appreciate the concept that you're raising, we believe that more important to get people to achieve the great things that they need to achieve and show them how to get there, as opposed to promising them that they can win the lottery tomorrow and you have no clue as to how to make that happen.
Well, gentlemen, I thank you both. Thank you very much, Mr.
Good talking to you, Lincoln.
Same here.
All right, sir.
Same here.
So, ladies and gentlemen, that was, sorry, still playing. That was Dr. Dwayne Sands. Dr. Dwayne Sands, resident of, what do you call it, Old Fort Bay, puppet of the oligarchs, has been sent out like Roman Ferrero was to downplay the value of what we have as a country. And I want to say this to every Bahamian. You better wake up for your children and for yourselves. We have a chance to bring real change. All we got to do is make our people benefit. Give us the royalties. You see what they're doing and they're working together. You saw that Philip Brave Davis got rid of the Sovereign Wealth Fund, put the carbon credits in the name of the Prime Minister, got rid of the Sovereign Wealth Fund, and the F&M ain't peeped a word. They ain't say a thing. They're working together to keep you poor. Now, either we could stand up together, talk to our family and friends, shake this country. I see 1,586 people on here right now. Either you shake up your family and friends and you make this revolution happen, or your children has to do it. Yes or no? They're going to say there was a man named Lincoln Bain who warned us. And let's now go see if we could get what he was talking about. By then, it's going to be too late. The foreigners, the legal and illegal foreigners, the Europeans, the Americans, and the Haitians will own the Bahamas and own our natural resources, and your chance would have been gone. What keeps me up at night is that I know what is possible. I've been to the mountaintop, and I've looked over the ocean, and I've looked over the brand new Bahamas, and I see a promised land for us all. But it's only going to happen if you make it happen. I'm going to open the line as I continue to talk and say more. You know the phone number. You have to call by WhatsApp call. So hopefully you have WhatsApp. You have to call by WhatsApp call. I don't do any calls on the regular line anymore. Because, of course, the government listens to the regular line. WhatsApp is more encrypted, so it's more difficult for them to do anything there. All right, 803-5995 is the number. 803-5995. Save it, WhatsApp call now. All right, let's talk. 803-5995 is the number. Call us in, 803-5995. Call us and let's join in this conversation. First, we talk about Keith Bell. We talk about the F&M and them, not having any vision, just doing things and saying things they heard us say. And then we talk about BEC and what's going on there. There's more I wanted to talk about with time. We also talked about our natural resources and how they are trying to talk us down. They're trying to walk us back. They're trying to make us think that there's nothing to be gained. All right, let's go to the phone lines. Good afternoon, you're live.
Good afternoon, Mr. Ben. I was listening to you talk and all the clips you had. Also a natural resource. I see them doing selling these keys to people, but the Bahamian people are not getting the benefits from them. That's also a natural resource.
Yes, it is.
We don't get a penny of that money.
Yes, it is.
What I'm noticing also is they all are treasonous, from the Prime Minister to the cabinet is treasonous because they're supporting whatever he passes. The F&M is treasonous because they don't say squat and they have the power to.
Yeah.
Listen, these people are playing games with us, the Indian people. They are playing games with us big time. And just listen to keep it. I don't trust them. They are liars. I don't care what they say. I watching what they do. And people listen here. You all could see what they're doing because they are out in the open doing it. And they are blatantly not checking for us. And so, I don't want to see a nigger, a bullock, come to my yard but vote. You better stay in the road with the dogs. And don't come through my corner. Because people tired of y'all. You hear all them lies they can talk. You hear the Prime Minister stumbling while he talk. And Keith Bell refuses to answer questions of the Bahamian people. Like, you know, they're above the law. And they're above the people, the same people who put them in the house. Oh, and guess what? I start pulling my business. I don't shop with certain people no more.
Wow.
I don't do business with people no more. I boycott them. Because Keith Bell worked a Pacific place, I stopped shopping with that person.
Which place that is?
That company. You understand? That's what we gotta do.
Oh, you just give an example.
Yes. And you going on Shirley Street? And you going Frankie there?
Did Frankie Wilson there? Yes, he used to work there.
Oh, with the Wilson lawyer. Come
Yes.
on now. I stopped doing certain things what I used to do with them. People, wake up, support your own. Support your own because these people ain't checking for you. They just checking for themselves. Look how they have the balls and all of them and the drivers and the children and the wives. No, they ain't checking for you. So you stop checking for them. That's how we gotta do this thing. Support our own. Who've been there a long time. Who's putting money back into the economy. And they better be careful who they allow in to get citizenship right here. You see them people, they burning up and killing each other. Watch what you bring in here.
Yeah.
Anyway, Lincoln, I have plenty to say, but it's only a short time and someone else might want to say something else.
Thank you.
Even people wake up. You're welcome.
Thank you. It's so true, you know, and Bahamians are suffering, hurting, and they have a chance to empower Bahamians. There's a lot of people who haven't heard the message, haven't heard the truth. We have to get this message out. You have to talk to your friends and family. If in the bank line, yes, someone complain, you talk to them about the New Bahamas. You find a reason to bring it up. You have to evangelize. They have bought out the media and they're controlling the media. You can see what they're doing. They're trying to legitimize the F&M so that at the end of the day, they can make it look like there's only F&M and PLP, don't worry about that other party. And that's the thing that they want to do. They want to paint the leaders of the COI as rebellious. They want to only show us, you know, from a certain light. And that's what they're going to do, to make us seem like we're unfit, when they have been unfit for all these years and we're tired. You know, these people are treasonous. They have been traitors to our country. They've been traitors. All right? And so you should go to Wikipedia and see, you know, what the punishment for treason was, you know, back in the day, and how before 1998, how they treated you as it relates to treason. It was something else. That you couldn't even walk to the place where you would be executed. You had to be dragged to that place. It was serious. We'll look it up. Good afternoon, you're live.
What's going on, Lincoln?
I'm alive.
All right. Respect. I like how you put it on your boy, on Steve McKitty.
Yeah, man. Thank you.
I like that left and the right. with Mr. Keith Bell, who he's talking about. If you notice, if he doing what he was doing from the police days, and he bring that attitude where it is right now, I have just a feeling how much people they already, like, let's say, signed to be here without proper documents.
Mm-hmm.
You get what I'm trying to say?
Yes.
Because if, let's just say, if the authority is them who's sitting in the seat who's supposed to have full autonomy, what is the full power without them intervening.
Mm-hmm.
And every time they try to do their job, they intervene in the box scene. We can throw blows at the, at the officers there, but not knowing what really going on behind closed doors.
Mm-hmm.
Because I look at the whole scenario when you always with Ms. Curry.
Yes.
And you always about to do what you all do. And a call came in for a chief police to go do what he had to do to stop you all.
For not a chief police, on this show we call names. For BK Barnaby Jr. to come down there and stop us, break the law by interfering with us executing our lawful right.
Now, what I'm saying is, you see how everything quiet down. See, with this nation, things is quiet down. I like how you just keep regurgitating, keep Bell. Keep him front and center. I like that because that guy who did that to Miss Curry, he got to remember what that woman fighting for, and that's so to me, it ain't no issue. The human people, if you only see clear as they representing everything to me what is wrong. Because then she was saying there's a fella in there who threatened her.
Yes.
I only asking, there was a particular
That's the fella
there.
that BK Barnaby came and walked straight up to. And that's the one he was standing with when he made the declaration.
Okay, now here's this. And when you all go on in there, you all meet landlord, church owners, people of different things were going on one lot, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so and nobody was bring out for that. And I find it surprising because you spoke to each individual, even the person who did the threat against you all. He was a landlord. He was the one who built that I think who come up to you and say, man, don't destroy this and don't destroy that. See, I don't forget. You get what I'm trying to say?
I hear you.
Now, if you flip that for you, for Bahamians, and this is where I stand. Everything that happened in the Bahamas, the government and the Haitians, them caused it, and whatever taxes and things were going on, they tax us as law-abiding citizens. This is how I look at it. So I'm looking at it, let's just say if 10 people come illegal in this country today, my fear, and that's what I'm saying, my fear is you fighting against the wind because based on what Keith Bell doing, it's showing me like it got to be something what's going on to let these people know like when they hear. Because if you listen to what coming out of the Abaco, them houses explode over 300 a year today. Over 300. And when you've been there, when you're exposing that wasn't that high, eh? I'm only asking.
No, you're right.
So they saying Abaco now, I was listening to the news there, and I being like, this can't be the Bahamas. Because they saying now Abaco, you got these people opening up shops popping up everywhere. With the illegal, like selling this and selling that. And my mind is programmed because I being like, when we talk about you too, and people, we defending, now I haven't a lot to say because I say as this go on, this man speaking pure facts. Because you might not remember what you're saying, because you're saying, look here, these people, it was sometime when you was in Abaco, when you say these people can open up shop, you don't realize what you say today. That shocked me because I say, this man say that must be about a year ago, and now this woman calling in another show and saying how Abaco on the verge of like lawlessness. You get what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
And so like I'm to me, this is what I'm saying. Why nobody, and forget Brave Davis, why nobody on the opposite side questioning Keith Bell, and I say ask for his resignation, like put him in the front of the courts. I ain't talking about you, I talking about the opposition. Why like nobody pushing for him to go in the front of the court? See, All I saying is the Bahamas need the example of one,
Yeah.
one high official. The Bahamas just need an example of one to show that, okay, yeah, the law can still prevail, but because we just see things and then we move on. My fears, even for that woman, that poor, my mind is going on so much, Miss Curry. That is make me feel bad because I watch a nation of wrongdoers clap when you all gone on. That will never leave my image. Clap when the police pull you off the date, cheer that on. And the police to me, they feel good. Not all of them, the ones who come to do it. I ain't talking them ones who come to, I talking about that man who they stand here in the Freeport. He should be exposed. They should be like all over every so often you bring him up to make him uncomfortable. But somebody got to start to me. Somebody got to stop, Lord, make an example of the one. And you know who's the right one? I think Keith Bell should be the right one because he gone beyond treasonous. Because guess what?
Well, in the New Bahamas, we'll start with him, all right?
All right, then, thanks.
All right, I got to run. Thank you, man. Appreciate it. All right, we will start with him in the New Bahamas. He has what is coming to him. What people like Dwayne Sands don't understand that the natural resources in the Commonwealth Fund are not just about the money that can be made from the natural resource itself. The money made from the natural resources is never to be touched. That's not to be touched. That's the principle. You are to trade with that money, multiply that money, and then the revenue that you generate from that money is what is saved, touched. A small portion of it is touched. But the principle is never touched. So the billions that will be made from our natural resources will not be touched. It is what is invested and generated from it that would be touched. And so that has infinite exponential possibilities. Exponential. And so this is what you do with these funds. And so our old school politicians don't understand these principles. They grew up in an era where you weren't allowed, Bahamians aren't allowed to trade in the New York Stock Exchange or any stock exchange. Why? In the 21st century. Why is it that anything that could benefit Bahamians, they fight us and tell you it's illegal? Remember when Vonage came out? Remember when they first brought out Vonage, internet phones? They were like, oh, it's illegal. No, you're going to get locked up. If Vonage is illegal, no, you can't do that. Remember when Graham Rutherford first started talking about solar? And they started threatening him and saying, oh, it's illegal. You can't have solar. You got to get permission from BEC. And I had to go on the radio and say, that's nonsense. BEC talked about generating energy with a generator and a cylinder that spins. When the law was written, they didn't consider solar. So you're talking nonsense. So all you have to do is have your meter on the house, don't use it, and put up your solar. But anything that can benefit us, they fight it. Watch carefully, y'all. Watch carefully. And stop falling for that foolishness. I want to show this video to Dwayne Sands. This is what Qatar, that started out poor in the Bahamas, that didn't have any natural resources, and the people were dying in the streets. This is what some of the things Qatar is doing with their money. Remember, I talked about this stuff. A lot of stuff that I talk about, you're now hearing them talk about, and I heard today in the papers they were talking about how they're going to revamp Bay Street and bring entertainment to Bay Street. I guess they finally went on our tourism plan, our vision for tourism, and they got some ideas from there. They are only getting ideas that they hear us talk about, and it's comical the way they are presenting it. They really have no vision and they don't know what to do. All right. So now they're talking about they're going to get the police ban and have them on Bay Street constantly, and they're going to build one park, and oh God, all of this nonsense. Bahamas, just let the COI come in and let's get this, because they ain't making any sense. I want to show Dwayne Sands an example. Remember, I said on one of my shows that we are going to buy the sports teams. Our sovereign wealth fund is going to buy sports teams. Now, Adam Silver in the NBA is saying he's now catching on to the fact that, oh, we don't want sovereign wealth funds buying up all the sports teams. We want individuals to do it, but they're running out of billionaires to do it because sports teams are getting more expensive. I want you to watch this. This is the kind of stuff that we can do. We need to start investing as a nation. That's what Qatar, Dubai, all these countries are doing, and empowering all of their people. And everyone gets a dividend and a check every year. It's not just from the natural resources. The natural resources money is the seed money. That isn't the big money. That isn't where everything is going to be generated from. It's the seed money to get it started. Then we're going to invest wisely, invest sharply in many things around the world, like Norway did. Norway made $250 billion from their sovereign wealth fund, the investment of it during COVID and the lockdown, without even selling a drop of oil. I mean, that wasn't money from a drop of oil. That's Norway. From investing in Google and other companies that were very needed during that period. Qatar is investing all over the world. So all we need is a government with vision, man. Our children are going off to get educated and then being told that they are overqualified and they have to leave this country. We are sending our educated children away and people are still voting PLP and F&M. The COI is going to build a country that our children can come back home to. All the talent we need are Bahamians who are now building other nations. That is my dream. This is going to happen. Oh, Lincoln is going to go there. He's not going to do it either. No. My legacy is going to be that I've done it. What greater legacy to have than to be the one who empowered every single Bahamian? Oh, Lincoln is bad. He's sinful. He did this. He did that. But before I die, I'm going to empower every single Bahamian and then go to my master and let him say, well done. We can do this. We can do this together. It's just 2 minutes. I just want you to watch this and see what these nations are doing. Come on, Bahamas, we gotta wake up.
I'm saying that there's no plans to have sovereign wealth funds own teams in the foreseeable future. I thought that was an interesting thing. I asked him that question. I wanted to see what his response to that would be. I mean, listen, you can mock me for this, but if you've paid any attention to what's gone on with Live Golf, the sovereign wealth funds are moving into American sports. They've obviously taken over European soccer in many respects, and Adam can say what he wants. My just personal opinion is
It looks like that is freezing. I don't know why. But anyway, I'll just give you the gist of it. I want you to see it. But basically what he is talking about is that the sovereign wealth funds are going and buying sports teams now. They've already bought the Washington Wizards, the Nationals, and a lot of other sports teams. And they're not playing. They're investing their money. And so they're serious. All right. So the Bahamas could be doing things like this. During the lockdowns, Morton Salt was up for sale. Not Morton Salt in Inagua alone. Morton Salt globally. All right, the world leader in salt was up for sale. For a few $100 million, and we borrowed $5-6 billion in return. So we have access to it if we want to get the money. For a few $100 million, we could have bought the world's salt conglomerate. And we could have been the world leader in salt. There are 13 salt ponds in the Bahamas, so it's not just in Agua. We could have expanded our salt empire and been the biggest maker of salt in the world. Everybody consumes salt, every human being. In your drink, they put salt in water. In your drinks, in your food, everyone consumes salt or some form of salt. There's so many other uses for it. We could have been the world leader with an instant buy-in, just like that. Ready-made customers, ready-made suppliers, turnkey. But of course, our politicians are only interested in going and looking for investors who just want to come, pay some under the table money, and do whatever they want to do. That's what Chesapeake and them are doing, giving away our country, not finding ways for us to make money. They want to continue the parasite economy, right? And so that could have been done. We could have gone into the cruise ship industry. Many cruise ship many cruise ship companies sold scores of cruise ships, scores. During the lockdown, we could have bought cruise ships for what you would buy a yacht for. They sold their ships for scrap metal because it was more expensive to have the ships just sitting for that long period of time. We could and how to we could have moved our tourists throughout the Bahamas and spread the economy and give people a reason to move from New Providence. Bahamas, wake up. Connecting our islands initially with ferries, then some of them with bridges, starting with Elutra and tunnels. Bahamas, wake up. We could have then benefited from the tourism of other countries like Jamaica that is killing us in tourism right now. We could have had ships going to Jamaica and Mexico, Bahamian ships spreading our culture. We could have Bahamian ships going to Alaska and to Europe. A Bahamian European cruise sending our orange economy to the rest of the world. It's time to export our culture. Wake up, Bahamas. We have enough sun to generate enough electricity for our neighbors, Cuba, Jamaica, Turks and Caicos, even South Florida. Wake up, Bahamas. Wake up. Wake up. Let me take, I know everyone can't call, let me take a couple of your questions. It really pains me when I see that ignorance. And I see what we can be as a nation. And we sit down and let politicians rob us and railroad us every 5 years. The question is, will we wake up? That's the question. Crime is through the roof and the government is reporting that crime is down. No, crime is not down. The reporting of crime is down because people are losing their faith in investigations. People's cars are being broken into and they're not even reporting that anymore. People's houses are being broken into and they're like, please, they ain't coming. And if they come, they ain't do nothing. The reporting of crime is down, not crime. we are talking about, we had the Prime Minister traveling all over the world talking about carbon credits, but yet he bought 100, it's 100 or 150, anyway. He bought 100 trucks for the police to do patrols in. So we're patrolling in gas guzzling trucks, and we're talking about we are the ambassadors for the environment. Did you hear the FNM say a word? I wonder who benefited from those trucks. But we are the ambassadors of the environment, and you have police patrolling in trucks. I saw one of them trying to speed after someone. I saw that side of Tilden. I said, oh Lord, I could flip over. Trucks. Well, anyway, ladies and gentlemen, I thank you all for tuning in today. We headed to Eleuthera next week. Look out for the flyers. They sent a flyer. I'm sorry I don't have it on hand, but 7, I think is it 7 or 6 o'clock? I am so sorry. Let's just assume it's 6 o'clock. I think it's 6 o'clock. We're going to be, if I'm wrong, just look on our Facebook pages. You will see the exact time for your family in Eleuthera. So next week on the 29th, we're having a town hall meeting in Eleuthera. We're calling on everyone to come out. I'm going to tell you what's really going on with electricity, what's really happening with electricity. We're going to talk about your immigration problem, and we're going to let you voice your opinion and let the government hear. Since no one listening to y'all, we are coming to listen. We're going to let the whole country hear what's going on in Eleuthera. Come out, come out, come out. Please be there. Call your friends and family who are in Eleuthera. Remember, they're not going to give us media coverage. So the only way they're going to know is if you tell them or if they are seeing this and watching this. So we've already gotten some calls from Eleuthera, people saying that they're going to be there. So come out, let's talk about what's happening in Eleuthera. Get to meet me and our executive team. Yes, we're all going to be there. Myself, Maria, Charlotte, our shadow ministers, Dr. MacGyver, and others are going to be there. And so other members of our team are going to be there. So come out. We're going to be at the Workers' Union Hall. Those are people who know where that is. We're going to be at the Workers' Union Hall. I think it's 6 o'clock. Make sure I have the right information. Yeah, I think it's 6 o'clock. Let's see if I can grab the flyer. Nope, it didn't send it to me. All right, so I think it's 6 o'clock. Well, it's 6 or 7. Just look at the flyer to see what the exact time is. And so that's next week, Saturday on the 29th. We're going to be there. We're going to be in Eleuthera for a town hall meeting. So make sure you talk to all your friends and family in Eleuthera. Tell them to come out and let's see what's going on. All right. And so that's next week. We want to thank everyone who supported us for this town hall. Sorry, we thank everyone who supported us for our dollar drive. There's some people who think that we shouldn't have a dollar drive. Of course, he's only PRB saying that we shouldn't have a dollar drive. That political parties should have money. That's not how politics works. That is so utterly ridiculous. There's no political party in the world that just has money. They raise money. That's what they do. They beg. That's a part of politics 101. If you study political science, that's the first thing they say you must do. You must go there and beg for money. That's what you must do. The PLB had to do it. The FNM had to do it. In fact, the FNM was the king of dollar drives. They invented that. And they were the ones with all the old guard UPP money. They had dollar drives. Hey. All right? And so that's how they raise their money. And so that's what we're going to do. And so we are proud to reach out to the Bahamian people, to give them a way to participate in the electoral process, and that's what we're going to do. $1 at a time, we're going to take this country back and give every dollar back to the Bahamian people. Give all the power back to the Bahamian people. So that's what we're going to do. So looking forward to seeing all of you, and that is next week Saturday. So if you're in Eleuthera, Next week, Saturday, we're going to be in town. And so make sure you come there, you're there with us, and you're able to participate in what it is we're doing. You can speak your mind. Talk about the power outages. What's going on down there? Is it better? Is it worse? What's really happening, man? We're going to talk about all of this, and we're going to give you the vision for the new Bahamas, the vision for the new Eleuthera. Eleuthera is the first place that we're going to connect to Nassau. We're going to talk about our vision for Eleuthera when we get down there, all right? So we're going to talk about the problems, we're going to talk about the solution, we're going to talk about the vision for Eleuthera. There's no reason that Eleuthera and Providence shouldn't be connected now. So if the persons want to live in Eleuthera and commute to New Providence to work and go back, or vice versa, that should be happening right now, all right? And so we're going to talk about these ideas for the New Bahamas. Thank you so much for tuning in. So much more I wanted to touch on, but I'll leave it there for now. We got some more stuff to reveal on BEC. We're going to continue to fight Keith Bell and do the research, etc. that we're doing. We're going to continue to support the employees there and fight with them and make sure they're not touched. Sure. Lastly, Atlantis is negotiating with their staff. The lady has not been restored her job yet, but they are in negotiation with the union, etc. And so they said whatever we did, it worked. But Atlantis is now negotiating, and they're at the table. They said they're not going to leave the table until the negotiations finish. So we'll see what happens. But again, we're calling on the unions to stand up, step up, and do what they have to do, and break the back of Atlantis. We have to make them bend or break. Be strong leadership, man. I can tell you one thing: when the COI takes over, what happened to that lady will never happen to a Bahamian in this country again. That's a guarantee. No Bahamian will be fired unlawfully by any foreign entity. That will not happen. You will not be victimized in our country. You will respect Bahamians, or wish you did. New Bahamas is coming here. Just hold the faith. Stand up. We call you to stand up. Change ain't coming. Change is here. If you need t-shirts, we have lots of t-shirts at our office. You can come down and get t-shirts, support the movement. Come and pay your dues. You can go online and on our website you can pay using SunCash, or you can go to you can donate going to GoFundMe. But you can come to our office and you can also donate and pay. You can go to the office also in Grand Bahama and you can donate and pay there also. We're ready for change. We hope you're ready. Thank you all for watching. We're going to continue to stand up. We're going to see you on Sunday when we go live again. We have some more info to drop. Maybe we can drop some papers on Sunday. We can drop some documents in a long time. And drop some documents. See you Sunday.
This may be the best citizenship in the world, and they all have it. Because of this card, they get free land, free education, free weddings, free hospitals, and even a free funeral. It's the citizenship of a country in the Middle East called the United Arab Emirates. This is what life is like for citizens from the Emirate of Dubai. And because the city is so generous, they get the craziest benefits I have ever seen. Are you ready for this? When you are born, your parents pay nothing. Your delivery and checkups for the next 9 months are all free. Then you grow up and you go to school. Local school in Dubai is free! And so are universities, because Dubai will pay for you to get a degree.
I studied at Zayed University and New York University, both for free.
Who's gonna pay for that?
The government.
Then you get married. If you can't afford the wedding, you get $20,000 to throw a wedding. And after marriage, every local Dubai family gets this. Free land! Did you get free land?
Yes.
Did you get free land?
Yes.
Did you get free land?
Sure, yes.
And if you cannot afford the home, then you get a grant to build it for free.
I also can't afford building a house. I can get a 0-interest loan on housing.
Zero?
Zero.
If you need to go to the hospitals are free. And if you need surgery that's not available here, they will fly you to another country to get treatment for free. When you become a senior citizen, you get discounts, many discounts. And if you live alone and can't afford it, Dubai will even send a caretaker to look after you for free. And when you die, well, in Dubai, that's also free. Your funeral will be taken care of, and Dubai will build a full tent with air conditioning within 5 hours of your death next to your home so your friends can come and say goodbye to you. The point of government is to take care of people. And in Dubai, they take it to the extreme. Imagine if every city, every state, every government in the world did this. We would have a much happier world.